Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to Blitzburg Squad. I'm Wesley Seeley, joined alongside Shane Smith. Oh, man. Steelers, Pats, game over. Pats win 17-14. And here's what I'm going to say. This is odd enough, but TJ's out. His first game's out. He was designated IR. First game out is against the Pats here.
No sacks.
And no sacks. And we get the loss. We thought, okay, well, let's just try to get by, Patriots, the Browns, the Jets, get to the Bills game, maybe, get a loss there.
Right.
Just kind of skate, towards, week 8, 9, whenever he's going to be back with us, by 2 losses or so. Man, I don't know, man.
It was rough.
It's not looking like it's going to be like that.
It was rough to say the least. And here's a fun fact. When you say one person can't change the game, typically, the only person you think that can change the game is a quarterback. Wrong. Every game that TJ Watt has not played in since we've drafted him, we have lost.
0-5?
0-5.
Yeah.
That's rough.
It is. I mean, he's basically like the quarterback of your defense, and so to speak, I guess.
He brings so much energy, so much extra stuff on him where he can still make havoc happen that it frees up everybody and just makes the other 10 guys a lot less stressed that our defense plays lights out. Now, again, if we would have had him, would we maybe have only allowed the Patriots to score 10 points? I don't know.
Hard to tell, yeah.
Because it's hard when your offense is that bad.
Right.
So let's jump into the offense then.
Yeah, man, where to start? Where do we start?
Line played okay.
Line played okay, and you know what? I even kind of retract my statement from last week too. I said the line played kind of bad. I even thought for what it was worth last week they played okay. I thought they built on that this week too.
I agree. They took a step forward.
Yeah, they took a step forward. Played pretty decent. I think allowed maybe 1 or 2 sacks.
Yeah, and the 1 sack was not their fault. That was Mitch's fault.
For sure.
For not throwing it away,
yes.
For trying to outrun a linebacker.
Yes.
But
even dealing with the pressure, they did okay.
Mm-hmm.
Making some running lanes, still struggled there. You could still see it was the same O-line, having those issues or struggling with those issues. But they did create some running lanes for Najee and Warren. And then passing, pass protection I thought was okay as well. I mean, it wasn't the worst we've seen out of that group.
Right. It was definitely an upgrade.
Yeah.
It seemed like we had brand new people in there starting fresh, and it was nice to see. Running lanes, they were and Najee was definitely had his more downs than ups in the first half, did a little better in the second half. I text you and I said Warren, I thought was playing better in the running back spot. I mean,
he's got burst.
He just, when he gets the ball, he just fires through.
Yep.
To where it's unless they're already back there just waiting for him, they're not going to hit him behind the line of scrimmage because he's just going to shoot forward. He runs north to south, and, he's going to get you 3 or 4 yards, even going right up the gut with no sort of, hope of squeezing through or whatever.
Yep.
He's still going to get you some yards, which was nice to see. Our wide receivers didn't see a lot out of Pickens again, which was kind of a disappointment. But the ones that we did see, they made some great catches, but they weren't getting the separation I was hoping for. It just seems like, especially Deontay Johnson, I think of him being more speedy compared to Chase. I expect Chase to be kind of more tight coverage, him make those 50-50 catches. And I don't know, I just didn't see it. It seemed like somewhere there's just a lot of disconnect. And I mean, whether it stems from your quarterback or from your offensive coordinator, I'm just not sure which one it is. Because now at this point, we've seen a few years of Canada's offense. We've seen a couple of different quarterbacks. Is it the quarterback? Is it the play system? Would Kenny do any better? I don't know. These are all questions that it's hard to...
That's what I was going to say. I mean, running backs, wide receivers, they did their part. Maybe not enough separation and for the wideouts. Fragmuth had that drop in the middle of the field, hit him right off the face mask. Yeah. Otherwise, he had a touchdown grab late in the game. That's the one thing I guess we can maybe spend some more time on talking about the offenses, which I think is going to be the hot topic from this game, is the quarterback, the offensive play calling. both of which I feel like I'm up in the air on. I think there's, blame to point to both.
Right.
Obviously, you can look back at the tape and say, or rewatch the game, look at the tape. You can see Mitch missed plenty of reads that he should have seen.
Right.
He's still not seeing the field very well. His mobility is there, but almost sometimes it's almost like he resorts to the mobility too much, in my opinion. Sometimes he just needs to stay in the pocket, because I just didn't feel like the pocket was collapsing like he thinks it is. Or it's almost like he has that like distrust already, and he's like, I gotta bail.
Yeah.
And he starts to roll out, like on that Judon sack when he started to roll out, like throw it away. If he didn't have anybody open, throw it away. He just started to roll out, and I thought he could have hung in there and
right,
thrown a pass. But
yeah, you're outside of the pocket, just throw it away, live to play another down.
Yep.
And,
don't get your line. Like, it's going to come up on the stat sheet, a sack, and it's like, it wasn't their fault.
Right, yeah,
put it on
not at all.
That one should be on Trubisky.
It was rough to see with Trubisky. It's kind of been brought up, and after the game, it was kind of talked about as well. Trubisky seems a little frustrated that there's not more wide receivers going in the middle, like deep middle of the field, intermediate middle of the field. And I mean, he kind of sort of called out Canada, saying, if they put the concept out there, I'll start making the throws into the middle of the field. So he kind of threw it out, because the type of offense that Canada seems to be running and continues to run is more of a college style, is what everybody says, where it's always outside the numbers. And it just seems like Trubisky is not comfortable throwing it outside the numbers at all. It seems like he wants it inside the numbers more often than not. I think he needs to be able to do a little bit of both. But at the same time, I feel as an offensive coordinator, you can't be like, well, I'm going to run 90% of it on outside the numbers stuff, and we're going to make it work, because it just doesn't. Because I'd say Trubisky's favorite things, and again, it was more middle of the field, Pat Freiermuth, who's typically always in the middle of the field, and Najee as a check down. I mean, those were his two main targets, and he threw some Chase and some Deontay and stuff, but it's I don't know, it's just tough, because it's like, I know a lot of fans were screaming for Kenny, and if we know anything about the Steelers, it's not going to happen. They're not going to throw him in. And with him being a rookie, if he starts doing that, are those same fans that were cheering for Kenny going to be the ones that are booing him and putting him down and throwing him on social media, because he's not immediately having success? And it's like, I don't know. I've seen enough bad Steeler fans that I just don't trust them, that they're the ones that are screaming for Kenny, but as soon as he makes a mistake, they're going to be the ones that are calling for his head and to draft C.J. Stroud or, whoever the other quarterbacks are in this year's draft, and just kind of tank. And unfortunately, it's a lose-lose for the Steelers no matter what you do, unless you win football games.
Yeah, I think looking at like the past 2 seasons, how long has Canada been there?
Last year was his first year, because the year before he was just
quarterbacks.
There.
Yeah, wasn't quarterbacks coach. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so past 2 seasons, I guess we've seen last year and then now this year, and I know we're only 2 games in, but I feel like it's enough of the same, and we've seen it. We saw it all the time last year. People kept saying Steelers don't. Big Ben in the Steelers in this offense does not attack the middle of the field. I mean, you don't see a post route. You don't see middle of the field stuff. You just see checkdowns, and you just see outside passes. You just see, screens and like cute little checkdown stuff short of the sticks. And like, it's frustrating, because it's like now we have a mobile quarterback to play alongside of what Canada's system generates all their explosiveness off of. You need that mobile or that mobility from your quarterback. Here you go. You got it, Canada. Here's mobility. Now use it. And it's just like we're still working outside of the numbers. We're still doing dink and dunks. And it's like, well, yeah, your running game is going to suffer from that, because everybody we talked about this last season. Everybody's going to come up and not be scared of that deep ball, because you're not forcing it down the field.
Right.
And you're
not even trying it.
Yeah, you're not even trying it. And like that's why those guys are going to come up in the box and stop the run so easily too. So it's like, it's frustrating to me that what's Mike Tomlin saying? You live and die on that vine. He's always just saying like, live and die on the vine. But I get that to an extent. But you can't in the NFL when it's a win now league and you've only got 17 games to prove it now. It's like you better make your choices pretty quickly and not stay so stagnant on that one guy. And same thing with Mitch. And I'm gonna be bold and say it. Like I wouldn't be opposed to them putting Kenny in. Like I'm still fine with Mitch, but I just feel like you've seen 2 games in. you see what he's got, you see what he's working with, and maybe it is all on Canada, but I just feel like there's still some things I'm pointing to Mitch on. It's like seeing the field well and not doing well enough in the offense. And Kenny too, like to your point, like he might come in and there's always going to be those fans that slaughter him and be like, well, maybe we shouldn't have wasted a first round pick on this guy. Well, did we reach at 20 and all that crap? But I don't know. I just feel like everybody wants to see Pickett and the hype's around Pickett that like, even if he did struggle, they'd be like, he's a rookie. He's going to have the growing pains. Like nobody's going to go 14-2 or 15-1 like Ben did his rookie season.
Nobody's gonna have the next Ben.
I mean, like it's very rare that happens in the NFL.
Rookies, and I mean even looking at Peyton Manning as a rookie, they struggle, and typically if they have it and they have that mentality, next year they come in, they get better. But typically then the people around them get better because you have your staple piece, and then you're drafting a solid line the next year or something like that.
And I get it, like
nudge, nudge.
Yeah, you get Pickett to come in and an offense looks the same because your game plan is still Canada's game plan, and you're going short dink and dunk, you're going screens, you're not forcing the ball down the field, the running game's still stagnant. Like I get it, it could still look the same, but like I don't know, it's almost like I liked what I saw out of Kenny in the preseason. He just seemed so calm, collective. We talked about that in the preseason, like watching the games together. It's just like he looked the part, and I don't know, it's like Mitch just looks, and I know we said this before we started recording. He looks like a more mobile Mason at this point. He's just not seeing the field well and not making right reads, and I don't know. He's not
running scared when there's not reason to run
and
scared.
I think he has the skill set too, and he has like the moxie, so to speak, because he's been in the league for years now. It's like you can get the job done. Is it because maybe it is the calling that's holding him back completely, and maybe he is scared of this offensive line isn't holding up their end of the bargain here, but I don't know, man. It just seems like you've got the pieces around him on offense, and it's just he's looking a little weird. And
and like part of it too is, I mean, you'd think that being in the NFL and you're able to read your own things. It's not quarterback. It's not high school. It's not college as a quarterback where it's basically like, okay, you're running this play and this is the guy you're throwing it to no matter what. It's not like that. You would think that it's like that in the NFL where it's okay, this is your main read. However, you have your check down look and stuff. But Cowher said it best at, around halftime, is that it looks like Mitch is more concerned about not making a mistake than he is about making a big play. And, like, do you think that's Tomlin and Canada, like, literally just beating it into his brain day after day, room after room, practice after practice, saying, don't throw a pick. Always do this. You never want to turn over because our defense is good enough to do
making
it.
him play too conservative,
and
maybe?
Almost like brainwashing him into being like, okay, I can't try to make this throw because it's too tight of a window. And if I make it, we probably score a touchdown. But man, I could make a pick, and then they're gonna yell at me, kind of thing. Like, I get he's kind of more on a prove it deal, and so maybe that's also why he's a little scared about making negatives. But you gotta take those shots.
I also wonder, do you think this effect of, hey, I've got number 8 that everybody's chanting right behind me on the depth chart.
It's definitely not helping.
You know what I mean? Like that's got to be playing a role in his, like, almost a mind game of, crap, if I force this down the field and throw a pick, they're gonna have my head. Like, you know what I mean? So I almost wonder is he just playing conservative for the fact of he doesn't want to lose the starting role yet? And it might eventually happen this season. I don't know, but he doesn't want to be on the chopping block. You already heard the Kenny chants today.
Oh my gosh, you heard them every single time. It was even if we had a long sustaining drive where I didn't think Trubisky looked horrible, it just kind of looked
Yeah.
Even if it didn't end in a touchdown and it was a punt or it ended up being a field goal or something, you just heard Kenny over and over and over again.
And
which does not do good for a starting quarterback's mental
I'm sure.
Thing. It definitely is not what you want to hear.
No.
But you look at a stat, and it's going to sound like a very familiar stat from last year compared to Ben. Trubisky was averaging today 4.6 yards per attempt.
Dang. What was Ben's last year, like 5?
It was under 5.
Yeah, it was like pretty low. Okay.
And so yet again, like I was saying with Canada, it's like
proof's kind of in the pudding here.
Unfortunately,
there's like a common denominator.
I hate to say this, I miss Todd Haley.
Offense was humming when he was around, that's for sure.
Offense was humming. Defense
Call him up.
Bad.
Call him up.
Our offense was good.
Yeah, it was.
And he was good for training wide receivers how to get open and do the right things and stuff. And it's like, unfortunately, we've had this carousel of bad OCs all of a sudden. So it's like, this is just speculatory now before we go into grades of our offense, but, did they put Flores because they want him to be the defensive guy, or because he played so well with Miami that they want him to be the next OC, even though he's on the defense right now? Just because, it's just bad.
It is
all
bad.
The way around. It's bad because the Patriots' defense did not look that scary. Their offense did not look good. We beat ourselves, and it all stems from offense.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. As my one last point. I don't know if you have anything more on the offense, but we got our what? Yeah, one offensive touchdown this week, one offensive touchdown last week.
Yep.
That's horrible in an offense, basically an offense-driven league.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be able to put up points. And obviously, I know we shocked the Bills last year, but to really realistically hang with the Bills this year, or hang with a high-powered Chiefs team, you saw it in the playoffs last year against the Chiefs. We can't do it, and we're not at that point. Our team's not at that point yet. So, but to even get just a winning record and even have a chance at the playoffs, you've got to be able to beat teams like the Patriots. When you hold them to 17, like you always preach, like when your defense holds a team to under 20, under 21.
20 or under.
It's like
you should be able to win football
games.
games.
That should be enough to hold a team to win a game. And I don't know, it just sucks that our offense needs to get better really quick, and I don't know what it's going to take, because we all these last year we were broken record last year about the line. Line needs to get better, and it's been okay this year. It's been slightly better than my prediction was going to be, but
yeah, better than last year. Still not up to par, but now there's just so many other things that it's like, well, that got better and things aren't getting better. So what's the problem here?
Yep, I agree. All right, so let's wrap up the offense. What's your grade for the offense for the day?
D. One touchdown, so you scooch above the F grade, but
I'm going D. I'm going D minus.
Woo!
I almost went F plus. F plus, just you had the plus in there, so it doesn't sound as good. Yeah, I'm gonna go D minus. Yeah, I just think it's pitiful that you only come up with 14 points, and against a team that's I feel like mediocre still. Like, we might be mediocre, but we're Steelers fans, so we're always gonna think we're better. Right. I just still think on paper we're a better team, and we just didn't show it today. So offensively, crap. All right, so defensive game for Pittsburgh here. What was your thoughts on defense and
defense?
Go for it.
They said that it wasn't going to change with Watt out. They lied. Maybe it didn't, but it sure in the heck looked like our defense looked a lot different this week. Not in the fact that we allowed more points, because I feel like our defense is a bend, don't break defense. Mm-hmm. We'll allow you to get from 20 to 20, no problem. Inside of the 20s, we're not really letting you go too much, unless you make a big play or something. I felt like we were playing super, super soft. That it was like rush 3, rush 4, and then just play real, real light zone, back in the lines, and then what we'd see is, okay, Mac Jones, here's a little 3-yard pass, and the guy'd turn it up, either bust a tackle or the first guy to touch him would be 8 or 9 yards down the field. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no,
too much space.
You gotta, especially being a second-year kid, he's playing with some back spasms. He just got over an illness, so he hasn't practiced a whole lot. His line looked a little bit shaky. He's not going to be wanting to take any sort of shots, and he's not going to be wanting to try anything. You got to play some tight coverage. You got to, Blitzburg.
Yeah.
Blitzburg. Blitz them. Hit him. Make him not want to have the ball in his hands. And we just looked pretty lazy on that front, if I'm being honest. It just seemed like Austin was kind of like, it's not going to change, but Watt's not here, so we're just going to play real, real soft and really play it 20-20 and see what happens. And it didn't work.
Yeah, that was a huge fact. I mean, you lose defensive or former defensive player of the year. It's a pretty big hit. And I thought they would just manage, because I'm like, okay, you still got Highsmith that came off a great performance last week. You've still got Cam Hayward up there. You've got Alualu. You've got Wormley. You've got Ogunjobi. You've got these guys that are still dogs up there that can get the job done. Malik Reed coming in, Jameer Jones coming in. Like, those were kind of unknowns, but we're like, the other guys will make up for the lack of it for in the meantime.
Right.
You just realize how much of a force TJ is, though.
Right.
Like, there's been games we played like Burrow last year when TJ we didn't get to him. They broke our sack, like, consecutive games with sacks, or whatever it was. There's possibilities where TJ doesn't get there, but man, he is such a force, and it changed this game so much. You saw a couple times where like Cam Hayward would get off a block and it over pursue just a little bit of Mac Jones. It's like, darn it, like they'd get close a couple times, but not a lot of like interior pressure, not a lot of edge pressure. Just wasn't getting there. And like you said too, like with the coverage, it was a little soft, and like I just felt like they were giving up third down conversions too easily. Like middle of the field was a huge target.
Middle of the field was, and even like when we were rushing, Highsmith looked like he was trying to do all the work. Like, kudos to Highsmith. I thought he looked not bad. He didn't get to the quarterback, but that's not for a lack of trying. People like Hayward or Alualu or Ogunjobi or even Reed for starting 13 games and having six or 6.5 sacks with the Broncos last year, like, they did not perform up to par. And it's like you could definitely see that it led to some struggles for sure. Didn't hear much about Bush. I honestly didn't even recall seeing his number on the field today.
No.
Jack was kind of...
I heard he got injured, though.
Oh, okay. I seen a lot of Bobby, and it seemed like when Bobby was there, he was making the plays. He's just a little bit slower. Miles was okay. I'd say he wasn't great, wasn't bad, kind of in between. And same with our corners. They were there, but, some of the things that you would expect, like Cam Sutton dropping a pick, like, you got to make those plays. Those are game changers that, you drop that pick and, yeah, sure, fine, it's 4 and out or whatever. Now it's a punt or a field goal instead of, okay, now we're in field goal range and our offense is struggling, so now, hey, guess what? Now it's 17-17 and we're going back to overtime.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Kind of thing. So it's just... It was frustrating to see them that they only allowed 17 points, and they just kind of didn't look super great. And they looked like real bad against the run again all of a sudden. Like, it took till the end of the game when they were definitely gassed, but all of a sudden at the end of the game when it mattered and we need them to make a stop with 6 minutes left to go, it was, okay, we're going to run. And they ran with Harris. They ran with Mondre Stevenson. They ran with whoever they wanted. Yeah. And it was 6, 7, 8 yards a run. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, it really didn't matter.
Like,
I was happy to see Minkah get another pick. Awesome.
Yes. Minkah for sure was great.
Heck of a play. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that I will say defense, because of the game last week, overtime game, they were 95 or 100 snaps last week.
Played over 100 snaps,
which was
last
just
week.
Stupid. Okay, they're going into this game, and they were on the field. I don't know how many snaps, but they were on the field a ton because the offense sucks again.
Right.
And so yeah, at the end of the game, like you said, when the Patriots started to be able to run the ball, they were able to basically run it with ease because we were so gassed at that point because it was just, now they're 3 and out by the offense. Defense, okay, you're up again. Defense, you're up again.
66 plays, by the way, they were.
That's a lot of plays, man.
166 over 166 over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a ton of plays. So, I mean, I get it. I understand why they have, like, sort of an excuse. But I don't know, like the point you made, too, about Sutton. That is one of the key moments in the game that sticks out to me as a huge pivotal point in the game.
And it hit right off his hand.
I mean,
it was no easier to make.
Right to him. He had the great pick last week.
Yep.
He had to stretch out for that one and snag it with his fingertips. This week, right to him.
Yep.
Right to him. Didn't catch it. So that was a huge backbreaker. I mean, that was like, oh, you kidding me, Sutton? Yeah, that was a huge bummer. We need to come up with those. You got to be an opportunistic defense and come up with, especially ones that land right in your lap like that.
Right.
Okay, grade for the defense.
I'm gonna go C+. They were slightly above average, and I'm kind of cutting them a break, even though there was no sacks. So yet again, any sort of sack streak we had going again is now gone. That seems to be a theme. Wasn't that week 2 last year that we played the Bengals and we broke the streak was broken?
I can't remember if it was Bengals or Raiders week 2. I don't remember.
But it seems early on, all of a sudden, no Watt and bad things happen. But just because of how much they've had to be on the field and how much they've had to do and stuff, I'm going to kind of cut them a break and give them a C+.
I'm actually going B. I know we didn't get the pressure we wanted. Got one turnover. Minka's pick. Should have been 2 with Cam's. And didn't get the pressures, didn't get the sacks. And, didn't get a stop on the final drive when we needed the stop, unfortunately, to at least give our offense a chance to tie it up or win the game. Mm-hmm. So that was unfortunate. But like we said, they've been playing a lot of plays. Their backs were literally up against the wall the whole darn game. And two, I will say the one thing we didn't mention was the Aguilar touchdown on Witherspoon. Dude, good play by Nelson Aguilar. But Witherspoon, please just win that rep. That was a huge pivotal point in the game too. You look back at that play.
Right.
That was a 50-50 ball. Witherspoon was in the right place, right time, just didn't make a play on it. And Aguilar made a heck of a play.
Didn't make the right play on it. Aguilar was just more determined, I guess. You could see that Witherspoon was really beating himself up on the sidelines for it. Hopefully that means that he'll come out and, correct himself. And I didn't see any other negative plays against him after that happened. Yeah. It just sucks because that was a 44-yard touchdown right before half.
Yeah, right before half.
Typical Patriots fashion where they came around and guess what? They had the ball again right after half. That's just exactly how Belichick loves to dial it up to kind of put your back against the wall.
So that Cam and the Witherspoon wanted 2 absolute backbreakers. Okay, so grades on defense. Special teams. And Boz did his thing. He hit, a 50 – what did he hit, 52? Yeah, 52, and then he hit a 36-yarder. So Boz was money.
Yep,
Boz was per usual.
Boz was doing good again, not dinging it off posts or anything.
Not this time. Percy Harvin, though. Okay, so PH3 had an absolute bomb in the second quarter, maybe it was.
Cannon.
69 yards.
69 yards.
Crushed it. I mean, absolutely great punt. But then later in the second half, maybe early fourth or something like that, had a 39-yarder. Oh, man. This is what we talk about when we always talk about we'd like to see that consistency from Percy Harvin.
Right.
Is that right there. You've got a 70 and a 39-yarder. Like, one went to midfield and the other one went all the way down to, like, their 10 or something like that. Stupid. Like, it was a huge punt. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what we always preach on. It's like, man, if we can get a little more consistency out of you. And I understand, like, punting's probably a hard job, but, dude, come on. Just get it to click because you've got a heck of a leg.
Oh, got an absolute cannon of a leg. And yeah, it's one where PH3, you seen what he can do and you see what he also can do in a negative fashion. So that was a bummer to see. Then
talk about your boy Gunner.
Yeah.
Should we bring it up?
Gunner decided that he was rooting for the Patriots one last time.
It's like, Bill, I owe you this one. Watch this. Right off the face mask, too. What was up with the face mask catches today?
Yeah, face mask. Everything bounced off the face mask.
I mean, Pat had his off the face mask, and then Gunner has his off the face mask.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Why? You wonder why.
Dude, you know what makes this even, like, worse, too? I was right after the Sutton dropped pick. They punted the ball, and Gunner's like, I'm going to muff this thing.
Yep.
I like Gunner a lot.
I do, too.
And I mean,
and he's been great at that for quite a few years now, so it's something you don't expect to see.
No, you didn't expect it at all.
And I don't know what happened. I don't know what he was looking at. I know his job's not easy, but at the same time...
You know what? Immediately, as soon as they punted that ball, when I saw that, not Gunner Olszewski, but the gunner for the Patriots that was running down the field to tackle him, unblocked. There was nobody on that side, and you just saw him running free down the field. I'm like, he's going to absolutely clobber Gunner. And then he starts to call the fair catch, and he's right in front of his face. I'm like, ooh, that's never like a good thing.
Right.
You know, when you got that guy just waiting for you to muff that thing, you're like, ooh, added pressure. And maybe it doesn't affect them. Maybe that's not why he even did it, but I would think it has some kind of psychological way on you. So that was another really like Sutton thing, the Witherspoon thing, and then the fumble for Gunner are the three things that poke out in my mind. Is like those were the 3 points in the game that absolutely changed the game. Like could have or did change the game. Sutton's could have, and then Gunner's and Witherspoon's did change the game.
Yep.
Yeah, Gunner fumbling, and Patriots recover. And did they end up getting a touchdown on that drive?
No.
No, they just got the. Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? I think they did.
Was that the Aguilar one?
It might have been.
I'd have to look back and see.
No, I think it was the Damian Harris run for 2 yards.
Oh, okay. So the 2-yard rush. So yeah, I mean that changed the game right there.
I think that was it.
So that's a backbreaker.
Absolute crusher. Because it was late in the fourth. You were trying to just get some points up and get your offense a chance again.
Yep.
And you have a drop pick. Oh, bummer. Let's just get the ball back. Oh, muffed punt.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a killer. So, yeah, special teams grade. Let's hear it.
I'm going to go. Boz was good.
He's got to factor in Boz because he actually did his part.
And
the other two.
Peach 3 was up and down with a down. I'm actually going to go C-.
Okay. All right.
So below average because we've seen real good from PH3, but also maybe not real bad, but pretty bad. A 40-yard punch, not great.
Yep.
And then Gunner, hopefully that's just a one-off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go C-, I think.
Join me.
Yeah, I think. Is that what you said was C-?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna go C- as well then, because you look at Boz, that's the good. You look at Percy, that's the okay. You look at Gunner, that's the real bad. Because Gunner muffs it, and we end up winning the game. You look at it as okay, yeah, it's a negative, but it didn't affect the game as you would think, to lose you the game. Right. That one, you might be able to look at that one and say, that play lost us the game. I mean, obviously there's more to it than that because it's a 60-minute football game, but that was a huge play in the game. So,
yes.
Yeah, let's go C- for the special teams. Overall, man, I didn't get my bold prediction right because I want freaking George Pickens to go off. Yep. And apparently Canada doesn't like George Pickens, and Trubisky doesn't like George Pickens because they targeted him, I think, twice. Yeah. Unless you count the Hail Mary. Maybe that was his only other second target. I don't remember. That Hail Mary before half. Oh, man, it's just frustrating because the dude's so talented. And we heard nothing but good in training camp. He's going off. He's crazy. He's awesome. And did good in the preseason even. And it's gone. First 2 weeks, not even on the team.
Yep.
You would think he's on IR rather than Calvin Austin.
Yeah, you'd think.
Jeez Louise. Oh, man.
Not that if we got Calvin back and be a burner that it'd matter because we're not going to throw it deep anyways.
No way.
So.
He'd be doing end arounds or screens or some crap like that. Maybe he can throw the ball, though.
Maybe.
Throw it to him, throw it down the field. Man, this is rough. I don't know. Steelers got to figure it out. We've got a really short week, too, on Thursday night. We got the Browns at Cleveland, too.
Yeah.
Ugh, and they're running the ball well right now.
Running the ball great.
They lost to the Jets, though, so
there's hope.
Anyone's ball game, yeah.
There's hope, but they scored 30 points.
Yeah, they did. We can't even see 30 in our.
Man, when we break 20, I'm happy. It's sad. I thought that was going to be over when Ben was done, but apparently not.
It's funny that we talked about the Steelers going in this year, saying that we got QB mobility, and that's going to be a factor. Offense can only get better because of that.
They might be worse.
At least you had Ben to close out these close games in the fourth quarter. He was clutch. You cannot deny that. The dude was clutch. And he knew how to get the games done. Get you the W, but might be ugly still, but he would get the W for you.
Right.
And now it's just ugly and we ain't getting the W, huh? I don't know. It's one game, we're 1-1. I guess we'll see what happens this
I would say a
week.
lucky 1-1.
Yeah, that's true.
1-1 nonetheless.
Could easily be 0-2.
We're still top in the division, even if Cincinnati wins tonight. because
they were losing.
Yes, they are currently losing to to the Cowboys.
Good.
But because we beat them week 1, and so divisionally we're 1-0.
Yep.
Woo!
Yippee.
So if there's any positives to come from it, we're still top in the AFC North.
Yeah. Bengals are losing. Browns lost. Ravens lost. Close games. So yeah,
very close games.
Division's looking okay as of right now. However, we've got a short week. Trajectory isn't looking up. Steelers fans are really down on this team.
Yeah,
us included. And I don't know. We got some work to do on a short week. I just feel bad for this defense. They got to get back in there on a short week, and after playing so many snaps.
Get back there on a short week and stop a team that is just going to run it down their throat.
And it's going to be physical. Yeah, it's going to be a physical game.
Physical, run it down their throats. But that's going to be in our preview. That's for a different time.
All right. I'll quit dogging on them. All right, man. Well, you got anything else to add?
No, I'm done.
All right, I'm done ranting too. So, thanks for everybody listening in or watching this, whatever you happen to doing on whatever platform. We appreciate it, and catch you guys on the next video. Go Steelers.
Go Steelers.